Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Hey y'all, it's Gail Tralco with Healthcare 911, and today we'd like to welcome Coach Al. Hey Coach Al.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Today we're going to be talking about ADD and ADHD in athletes. That's ADD is attention deficit disorder and ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So Coach Al, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I born with that of ADHD. I was very hyper, get in trouble all the time. I cannot learn. I cannot pay attention. And everybody, when I born, they don't say you have ADHD. They said you are stupid. You cannot learn.
This is what you were told in school?
Well, everywhere, because they said I cannot learn. I cannot retain the things. But I noticed one thing when I was watching the TV. Even if somebody call me or say me something, I don't hear absolutely nothing. I was totally concentrating what I like. And then later on, when I started to discover how the mind works, I started to notice that the ADHD is only extremely attention to what they like, not to like a deficit of attention. They put too much attention to what they like.
So this is your life experience on what ADD really is. It's focusing on what they like.
I remember the first years of school, I cannot even remember anything. Now I remember, because everything is recorded in your subconscious mind. Everything.
Right.
And when I start to grow up, I was start to do some sports by accident because I was obese. I started to make myself to run and go around the park to school. Because in my time, we don't have transportation, just we walk to the school.
Right.
And now it's a little bit different, but my experience started to teach me what happened, because I have another experience. My brother was autistic, and my brother cannot understand anything. And then I said, there's something wrong right here.
Right.
My brother cannot understand anything. I have all these troubles. But later on, I found a mentor when I was around 15, 16 years old. And then he started to teach me how to control the mind. And that man is called Zovek. He's from the Tibet, and then he started to teach me what to do. And the first thing he teach me is how to breathe. And I tell him, well, I breathe every day. Why do you need to teach me how to breathe? He said, yes, you need to learn how to breathe to control your emotions, to control your mind, to control everything inside you. He said, wow, interesting. And that's what I teach too now, how to control the mind, how to control the emotions, especially with athletes. Because I've been coaching gymnastics, track and field for many years at the elite level. I have 2 Olympians and 5 world championships. And then I'm very passionate about the mind, because the athletes, when they have the talent, they don't want for the talent. They just can't win for the mentality they have, for the mindset they have when they approach the performance. And this is what I learned over the years. Like kids with ADHD, usually doctors, they prescribe some medications, and that's okay. I accept medications for the kids.
Right.
But if they do something extra to stop to use the medications. And the other aspect in ADHD, when the athlete use the muscles, they need to repair the muscles. And then
Right.
everything what they eat, they go to the muscle reparation and all the bones and ligaments, tendons. And the last one who get the nutrition is the brain. That's important for me because the normal ADDs who are sitting in the computer or in the games, they don't have the same problem than the athletes. The athletes go to born energy and they start to struggle to nourish the brain. And the brain is the most important part. Actually, we have three brains, the heart and the guts. And those three brains dictate your life. And then when the three brains are coordinated together, give you the personality you have. The ADHD or the ADD, because ADD is when they are distracted and very like an introvert.
Right.
And then we have 7 levels of ADHD. And then the last one is ADHD, when, like me, we were hyper, bothering everybody, asking for everything, and don't paying attention to the important things. I was explained, when you have ADHD, it's like everybody has one internal representation more important than other. Like if you are visual, the first internal representation in your head, you create images. If you are auditory, you create sounds, but if you are kinesthetic, you feel everything. Being ADHD, you feel everything at the same time, with the same importance, with the same enhance of everything. Which one you want to pay attention? You don't have a major representation system, and that's the problem. When the athletes or the kids, when they're growing up, they pay attention to everything, and they don't pay attention to one thing. And the normal kids can delete other things and concentrate just studying or concentrate using the TV, and at the same time keep opening other venues to receive information. ADHD don't receive any other information except for what the interest is.
So does that interest change during the day or is it just going to be their personal likes, what they're going to focus on?
Well, usually they have interest in entertainment. They don't have the interest in production, in study, in something like that. That's why they do the sports, to entertain themselves. Mike Phelps, he was totally ADHD. And the mom, the only way to control him was to put him to the pool at 5 o'clock in the morning. And the first years start to handle it, but when he started to win, he started to understand how important it is. And I noticed one thing. In my program, I have 3 aspects to follow. One, the most important is the family, because every cell in your body responds for the environment, and you human being respond for the environment around you. And what is the environment for one athlete? The family. The family create or a monster or a super athlete. And the second one is the nutrition. What kind of nutrition the kid has or the athlete has? Because usually they think nutrition is just eat something. But microbiomes are demanding things from you. That's why the kids or yourself, you feel I have I want a bread, I want something special. Is the microbiomes dictating in your head what you need to eat. And then usually the people go for what they like, not for what is better for them. And the third aspect is the most important to control all the 3 together, is how to concentrate. I use self-hypnosis, because hypnosis, everybody think is mind manipulation. It's what I hear everywhere in the world. when I was in Russia, I studied clinical hypnosis.
Uh-huh.
They teach me the hypnosis the way for medical purposes, not for show. And I discovered one thing: the mind works in frequencies. The first frequency to pay attention to everything around you is the beta. And then in beta, you can understand and you can hear and you can do a lot of things. After that, you go to alpha. When you go to alpha, you start concentrating things. It's very hard for kids with ADHD to go to alpha. The next level is theta.
Right.
It's when you start to be concentrate, super concentrate, this close to sleep is what we call hypnosis. And then after that, you go to delta and you sleep. In delta, you have 3 levels: deep sleep, partial sleep, and the REM. And then what happened, the ADHD, I was there in beta. The only way they go to alpha is when they have something of their interest. But when they concentrate the attention, they go to theta. They cannot hear you, absolutely nothing. It's like a self-hypnosis. I think when they have a game, they can spend hours and hours and hours doing it. And the man says, "Do you clean your room?" They don't even hear the man. They don't even hear nothing. Or imagine they are married, it's the same. They don't hear the wife because they put their attention on what they are because they're in theta. When you are in hypnosis, you can hear, but you don't pay attention to what you hear. And then I use self-hypnosis every day, because we are a habitual human beings. Then everything what we do, everything what we are, is the results of our habits. And this is the way I start to teach the kids. 3 things. I need to teach them the family. I have a program, it's called family integration. And obviously everybody has a lot of conflicts. And the conflicts start when somebody is not agree according with the rights they think they have. And then and the moment they start to have a little bit of harmony inside the family, the kids start to produce better results. And so as an athlete, as a student.
So this is family coaching that you're doing. How young are the youngest clients that you have or work with, Coach Al?
Usually 7, 10 years old, they start to make a lot of troubles at home. And then
right. But you know what? I didn't know this type of therapy was out there because I have a son that has ADHD. And he's 33 now. He's listening to the show.
Perfect. If you are listening to me, young man, it's a lot of solutions, but you need to have some effort because watch, all is training. When you see the Olympic Games, you see years of training.
Yes.
You see Simone Biles, how many flips she do in the air? She started with a front roll. And then you have ADHD, you need to start with front roll. And then keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. The only problem the society is programmed to see results right away. Why? Because they want only the acceptation of the others. We are programmed to be accepted.
Yes.
Not to, because nobody rewards the effort. Everybody rewards the results. If you get results, bravo. If you don't get results and you're working, nobody pay attention to you. And then the kids need to understand they need to have habits. In the program, they start to notice it's not the motivation who make them do the program. Because the motivation is like when somebody tries to lose weight. They try to get motivated. Let's go to the motivational speaker. Motivation is not a state, it's an emotion. And that the emotions in the body and only works for 60 to 90 seconds. You can get excited for 60 to 90 seconds. And in order to create a state, you need to remind yourself that emotion you feel. Then you can create a state. But when you have a mission, doesn't matter the motivation. That's the problem I have. At first, I create the mission they want to do, because sometimes they are thinking the mom is wrong. Probably you hear a lot of times he tell you, "Mom, you are so hard with me," and they think that you are exaggerating everything and you don't accept it. They don't see any problem themselves. They see the problem on you. And then when they start to feel the training, when they start to feel the results, they start to see the other side too, because they only see their side. They have no way to see why they need to improve. And then in the moment I start to open the subconscious mind, they start to see results, and they start to see that the people start to accept them, because most of the people scream to them, like I get screamed all the time, and they get upset. And they come to tell you, "Oh, the people attack me, these people is mean with me." And you as a mom try to protect him. "Don't worry, my son, don't worry." And we need to start to learn what is best for both of you, the family and the kid.
That's right.
And
So,
all the kids who listen to this program, who has a ADHD, is a solution.
so are most of your clients, are they on medications for ADHD, Coach Al, or are they not
Yes,
taking prescription meds?
Yes, the doctors. I have a partner, Dr. Nears. He knows my system. And then as soon as he start to give the medication, they start to feel better. They start to feel more relaxed, but they don't feel the fire internally to do things. You see them like a quiet, they don't want to say nothing. And then as soon as they start to do the program, Dr. Nears start to notice, okay, less medication, less medication, less medication. Because we have another problem. If you see the statistics over all the kids who suffer ADHD when they was kids, 80% are addicted to any drug. They finish in bad things. Why? Because they try to control the emotions they have with a medication. When they grow up, they want to do the same. They say, "Well, I'm so anxious, I'm so angry. How can I cope with that?" They find drugs, they have alcohol, they have all that kind of things. They start to use it, they feel better. And they start to mentally justify their actions, thinking that this is good for them. And they start to use just to control them. The intention was okay, but the results is devastating, because they start to destroy the brain worse every time with alcohol, with drugs, with bad influence. And then at the end, they finish in disaster life. I was going to that venue until I found the sport. When I found the sport give you a mission to do, something you love to do. And then this is the most important in every kid. They need to have a passion for something. The passion is an internal emotion that nobody needs to fire. They have it internally, but we need to discover in what part of their lives they're good at, because not everybody's good for everything. And then we as a parents, they ask the kids, "You need to be good at everything because you're my kid." This is not the case. Everybody's good about something and bad about something else. And then everybody has their own limitations. The first thing is accept ourselves, and then we can accept our kids. If we cannot accept ourselves and accept our limitations, we cannot accept the limitations of the kid. and we cannot be patient with those athletes.
Mm-hmm.
And then me as a coach, I have tons of kids who come to the gymnastics place with that problem. Why? Because they know I'm specialist in that, and my passion is to teach gymnastics. And then the parents send me the kids, and I enjoy it. I enjoy the process to have a very big problem kid and seeing years later a very productive and encouraged athlete. And for me, is the most satisfying moment of my life when I see somebody studying and preparing for good. It's my mission.
Do you have any children in your program that have childhood obesity that also have the ADHD?
Oh yes. Yeah. Usually when they have obesity, they are ADDs
Okay.
because usually they are more slow metabolism, slow
Mm-hmm.
process everything, and they are retracting from the society. They don't want to listen to nobody, and they are very shy. And the ADHD, usually they are very skinny because they are jumping with the body and with the mind everywhere. Exists obesity in ADHD, like my case, but right away we lose it. We lose all the weight because we start to jump.
Right.
Yeah, and the kids with ADHD, you have different problems than the kids with ADD. One, the ADHD is looking for significance, and
Mm-hmm.
the ADD is looking for acceptance.
Okay.
That's the difference between one and the other. And then you, as a parent, you have the same education, the same nutrition, the same environment for all your kids, and one is a mess and the other one not. What is the difference? It's not your fault. It's not the parents' fault.
Yeah.
It's the perception. Because every kid never learn from what you says. They learn from the assumptions they make about what you says, about what they see you do. It's like I explain all the time to moms, because one time I have a kid who was eating with the mouth open, and I just turned my face. I said, "Wow, you eat exactly like my dog." And the mom, I told him, I said, "Well, if I told you how to ride an airplane, can you do it?" No, everybody needs education.
Yeah.
And what is education? Repetition, fixing, trying, errors, fixing, trying, errors, fixing. That's education. And then the parents, the new parents, don't know how to educate the kids. They just think that educate is correcting them,
Right.
trying to correct them. This is no education. You try to give information to them and punish them for what they did wrong.
Uh-huh.
Usually humans, they have a lot of guilt internally because they had that process. They tell them what to do. They attempted, they receive judgment, and right after punishment. And then try to remember even yourself as a human being. When you make a mistake, what do? You punish yourself. You judge
Yeah.
yourself first, and you punish yourself because you don't accept what you did wrong. And then what happened? You are following the same cycle your parents teach you, but guess what? Never works ever. Why we keep doing it? Because we don't know better. Now in my program, you learn how to accept yourself, and then you start to learn how to teach others or train others to accept themselves. You don't need to teach your son or every kid with these problems to behave good. No, to
Mm-hmm.
accept themselves, and then they behave good.
So
I have
are
people understand.
do you get feedback from families, like from the teachers in the schools and that type thing, that the child's behavior improves after they've been in your program for 12 months, Coach Al?
Well, I received in the first 3 weeks.
Really?
Right away, they notice the difference because the first thing they start to do is to learn respect.
Uh-huh.
And then because they don't have respect for nobody, because they feel they have all the rights of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, because it's what they assume in their mind when they start to grow up. And then in the moment the doctor gave the diagnostic, you're ADHD. Okay, thank you. Now deal with that. They said to everybody. If they try to correct them, guess what? I did ADHD. Deal with that.
Yeah.
It's not my fault. I born like that. And guess what? I discovered is not like all the kids we have right now with diagnostic with ADHD or ADD. They don't born like that. They was made like that for the environment they was living, the food they take, all the stress around the house, because usually all those kids are surrounded with one for a dysfunctional environment. Can be
Mm-hmm.
the neighborhood, can be the family, can be
Uh-huh.
internal, and only 5-6% they born like that, with that ability to don't process the information correctly. I born like that, and plus I have very dysfunctional family. Plus I have my brother with autism, and all the attention was for him to save him,
Mm-hmm.
and all the punishment was for me. But I'm fine. I'm happy with that. And the kids, at the moment they start to learn how to love themselves, because this society has a big problem. In the 5,000 years ago, those super soldiers like the 300, the number one thing they learned is to be those super soldiers. And
Mm-hmm.
why? Why is important that? Because if you don't love yourself, you don't know your capabilities. You need somebody to love you in order for you to do things. Like one man asked me, he said, "It's not bad to love yourself." I said, exactly right what you says. You are programmed to believe that love yourself is wrong.
Uh-huh.
That's why you don't want to do that. But I put an example. Just imagine that you have a little cousin, he's a 4 or 5 years old kid, and he's very hyper, and the mom is very strict, and you go to visit him, and he breaks something. What do? You go and fix the things and say, before your mom comes, and then, I love you, I love you. You kiss him, and the mom comes, and they don't see nothing. The
Mm-hmm.
subconscious mind says, ah, that's love. That's love. When you make a mistake, what do? You judge yourself. Oh, wow, how stupid I am. Why you did this one? And then you start to punish yourself. And then what the subconscious mind says, you don't love yourself. You hate yourself. And then what happened? The guilt start to grow internally. And you start to don't sleep. You start to feel a lot of problems internally because you are creating that energy.
Uh-huh.
And then those kids start to learn the same patterns. And what we need to do, teach different. But how you can teach what you don't know?
That's
How you can
right.
teach what you don't experience? As a parent, first you need to learn how to love yourself, how to accept yourself. And the moment you love yourself, you accept yourself, you can teach that. That's the difference.
So that's why you're working with families with
Yes.
the children, and so that the parents learn too.
The parents need to learn a lot of things in order to get the best from the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, the kids only learn what they assume in the mind, not what you tell them, not but the information they get in the news or in everything, but they assume what it is.
So are you in the school system, Coach Al, or do you have a private coaching center?
It's a private right now because we try to get into the schools, but it's
Mm-hmm.
too much bureaucracy, and
Yes.
then they try to always put a lot of obstacles, and they don't want to implement something who is productive for the kids if there's no politics involved.
Okay.
And then the private section, it's easy to do it, and the parents right away go. That's why the website I have is to help them to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And the program for athletes is not even expensive. It's $20 a month.
Oh,
The
wow. So
idea is
anybody can afford this for their child.
$20 a month.
Yes.
And then they can see a lesson by lesson, session by session, because it's a lot of things to cover in 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
I create a system, it's called neurofitnestics. Neurofitnestics is 300 exercises.
Mm-hmm.
Those 300 exercises start to create new neural pathways in your brain. Why create that? Because my son born with autism. And then when I start to discover what happened with him and why he was like that, I start to create something to help him to connect the brain. The 300 exercises work in different way. You learn one exercise the next day, another exercise, and then by the weekend, we put all together as a routine. Now my son is 27, and he traveled all over the world by himself. He speaks 5 languages. He do everything all by himself. Why? Because he's disciplined now. He has respect for everybody. And then I want to see every kid with ADHD or with ADD doing the same. All is training. And then when I create these 300 exercises, my daughter was doing it at the same time, and she finished as the best student in California when she was in 4th grade. And then I said, oh, that's helping the brain. It's
Yes.
300 exercises. It includes coordination, color recognition, sounds recognition, movements, a lot of things. And the other system the athletes need to use is the quantum books. This is even for the family. Quantum books is a system who process all the internal representations of your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind has no words, just has symbols, colors, and codes. The 2 major symbols your subconscious mind has is love and money. And then when you start to work with the quantum books, your mind works with those 2 symbols, love and money. And then they need to have a purpose to do this program. When they do the purpose and they finish, you see miracles happen inside them, because it's the subconscious mind, it's the paradigm. The paradigm is the all the programs, all the impressions you have internally.
So are you, when you have someone enroll in your program, you teach them how to do self-hypnosis, and do you, is part of their curriculum to do self-hypnosis at home on a daily basis, Coach Al?
Every night, because probably you notice with your son, he go to sleep until he has no more energy to spare.
Yes. Yes.
Just, oh, I cannot do anymore, and then when they sleep. But they don't have a habit to go and sleep. And then when they do the quantum books, they need to write with their own hands, three activities in each side, and then put a music. It's a session I create just to go to sleep, because I suffer the same problem. The first time I did it, I create a music, I create something to make myself sleep. I have these recordings, and I hear like 5 times on the night, over and over and over and over, and not fall asleep. By the 2 or 3 weeks, I start to just hear the music and fall asleep. And this is what happened with the kids. If they are disciplined and they are committed to do it, every time they do the quantum books and they put the music, by the 3rd week, they sleep on time. And they don't have any worries about answer the text they receive or send something or what happened with. No, they just try to make their brain working better. The only reason they have all those problems because the brain never has rest.
Mm-hmm.
This is the problem they have. And then every time any human being have a lot of sleep, they are less tolerant. They jump into conclusions right away. It's what they do. They cannot sleep. They don't know how to sleep. And then I teach them how to sleep and what to do before they sleep in order to fall asleep every night.
Can you tell us a little bit more about diet and gut for the athletes, Coach Al? What you see and how you what are good things for them to eat and things that maybe they should avoid?
Well, the number one thing to avoid, even for ADHDs or for any athlete, is gluten. The
Uh-huh.
gluten is glue. It's a protein who is glue, and the body cannot digest that. Takes forever to digest that. And unfortunately for everybody, the gluten exists in every food you buy in the fast food industry. Any food you buy in any fast food restaurant takes 6 weeks to get out of your system. The food you intake inside your house, you prepare the food, in 2 weeks are off, gone. You absorb everything what you need and gone.
Mm-hmm.
Those ones 6 weeks inside your system and no value, no nutritional value. And then the most important for the kids is to learn to prepare their own meals. No, oh, mom, I need certain hamburger or certain fried thing because those kind of nutrition has no fiber. Like you see the hamburgers they sell, oh, it has a lettuce and tomato. Just imagine, they sell you that hamburger for $1. National advertisement, luxury places, taxes, employees for $1 a hamburger.
Uh-huh.
It's not possible. They try to sell you something else and just they tell you to pay $1 to get sick. And then you can
Oh,
go to buy the medicines. And then what happened with the athletes, if they start to learn how to prepare their meals, they will get excited. The first one, they hate it. But over the time, they start to feel the energy. And at the
right.
moment they go, Mom, I need to eat something, and you stop by a fast food restaurant and you buy them something, they feel tired and sluggish.
Right.
And then they start to feel, I don't want to feel that. They don't like anymore that kind of things. Takes 3 weeks. 3 weeks with good nutrition. Everybody in USA, they try to consume a lot of proteins, but the protein cannot be used by the body if they don't have any fiber. The fiber is the most important thing. Fiber is the nutrition for the guts, is the nutrition for the microbiome we have internally. And the microbiome is what dictates who you are, how many energy you have, what digestion you have, what metabolism you have. It's all in the guts. That's why before they said, follow your guts. Your guts, you're following your guts every single day. And then you change your microbiome. It's a lot of research. The first seminar I do with them is about nutrition.
Right.
And they start to see with videos exactly what happened internally when they eat junk food. Tastes good. That's why they sell it, because it tastes good. But they put sugar and they put salt and they put species who destroy internally your body. And then they start to behave bad because they don't have nutrition to the brain. Like I explained in the beginning, the first nutrition goes to the muscles. After that, all
Right.
the organs.
Right.
At the end is the nerve systems. Yet they don't know why they are so hyper. and and now you know why, because the brain has no nutrition. It's begging for nutrition. At the moment they sleep, then in the moment they have enough nutrition to reach the brain and the nerve system, you see another human being.
Well, you know, a couple of the most popular places around here in the southeast is Chick-fil-A for the kids to go to after school, and then you know the fast food hamburger chains with the Happy Meals and the kids' toy in it. So you know the marketing is catered to children, you know, and young adults, our high schoolers wanting them to eat this type of food.
And I have some athletes who always want to do that, and they hide from me because they want to eat that.
Yeah,
And I tell them, you can hide from me, but you cannot hide from the results of that food,
right.
because the food is, at least in my sport, create a lot of fear. And then in gymnastics, you need to do flips in the air. It's
Yeah,
scary.
yeah,
And then when the gymnast or the start to experience fear, it's just something internally is not there. And then it's a deficiency of something. And because they are going step by step to get into the finished product, like it's two flips in the air. And then when you see kids who can do all that kind of things, you see they face the fear all the time. And then that's why I tell them, you can hide from me with this food, but you cannot hide from your fears.
right.
And
Well, my son that has ADHD, he's 33 now, and he only takes. I never would give him the prescription medications in elementary school because I didn't agree with, you know, he was very good. He would go to sleep at night, so he probably has a very mild case of ADHD, and
yes,
he was a cheerleader in high school. And the
oh,
more he did with competitive cheerleading, he actually would go days and not take the medication. So, and now he only takes it occasionally as an adult.
yes, and there's a natural supplements they can
Yep.
take. One is the green coffee uh, beans, like a dust,
Right.
but it's minimum the amount you need to take in the mornings. No as a caffeine, because the green beans don't have too much caffeine. It is it is the ingredient they have. It has the philippines, and then those philippines create all kind of energy internally, and they can concentrate more and be more relaxed when they face some challenging moment.
So, do you work with adults as well, Coach Al? If maybe someone didn't have that opportunity when they were young, do you take on adult clients as well?
Yes, I have a lot of adults. Um, One of my best friends, he never told me he has that problems.
Uh
And
huh.
then I started to train him, and he's pretty much 50 years old. And then, um, and then he started to change because he has a lot of problems for that. He forget that he put something right there, and and then he turn and delete where he put it, or create an accident or create things because you don't pay attention what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start to create the awareness around them. I guide them into the first hypnosis session,
Uh
and they
huh.
know how to do it by themselves. And then if they do it every day, every day, every day, it's only 5 minutes. You don't need to do like a monk all day long, meditating and do things. No, it's just 5 minutes. It's like a reset your brain. You need to reset your brain. Like when the computer starts to be slow and have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
problems, what do? You reset it and start to
So,
work good.
are you able to work with clients like we're doing this by live video? We've got 5 minutes left. Tell us a little bit about how you're able to work with patients. Can you do telemedicine? You know, like Zoom calls or WebEx
Yes,
to work with
that's what I
people that
do.
may live out of your area?
Yes, because I seen two kids, two athletes in Russia right now.
Okay,
Yeah, and then they cannot come to see me,
right.
but I was in Russia, and then the coaches who knows me, they recommend me those athletes, and they start to do good.
Well, I think it's so important for parents to know. This is something that I didn't know as a parent, that self-hypnosis would help, these
Yes,
children. And, that's better than a prescription any day of the week.
yes, and takes effort. The
Yes.
pill is just put into your mouth and swallow it, but self hypnosis takes effort. And my first session, my first hypnosis to them is to make them understand how important it is to do effort.
Mm-hmm.
And then they start to do it. I don't
So
force them to do it.
tell us how people can find you, Coach Al. Do you have a gym in your area, or where you take people in person for classes?
Well, I have an office in McDonough,
Uh-huh.
and I do everything online right now,
Okay.
especially for the pandemic.
Yes.
We start to do everything online. I think works better. Works a lot better because sometimes when they come to my office, it is good, but I need to see them before they go to sleep.
Okay.
And then, especially they're adults.
Mm-hmm.
Adults, they say, well, I have a lot of problems. And then I do this session before they go to sleep. And then they go to sleep. And the mind has opportunity to process everything that I said. And
That's awesome. So what's your website, Coach Al?
is www.kelbren, KELBREN wellness.com.
So
And they
people
can,
can contact you through your website to make appointments, and you're in
yes,
the Eastern time zone here in Atlanta, but you have clients globally, which I think is wonderful.
yes. And sometimes I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I don't care.
Yeah.
Just to trace somebody who need help. And my first priority is to see the results, to
Yes.
see them happy and satisfied with themselves.
Well, I think it is absolutely phenomenal, the work that you're doing. Um,
Thank you.
when you're passionate about something and it's your life's mission, you're certainly going to fulfill that calling. And the clients that, the children and athletes that you serve are, I didn't know anything about this. I didn't know that self-hypnosis was a treatment for ADD and ADHD in athletes.
Yes, it's a self-medicine. The body has all the medicines available in the world. The only problem you have is you can have all the medicines, but if you don't know the doses and you don't know which one you need to take, nothing help. And then the self-hypnosis, pick the correct combination of chemicals internally, and you start to heal.
Have you worked with any cancer patients? I'm an oncology nurse.
Yes. Right now, I'm training one lady who has a lot of problems. She was smoking a lot,
Yes.
and then I started to train her. She don't smoke anymore, but I said the smoking is not the problem now. Is the consequences of the smoking for many years.
Yes.
How many space you have to breathe in the lungs is minimum.
Yes.
You put a lot of tar in your lungs, but now we need to start to reverse that, and it's
So
possible.
well, it is, and the body will heal itself if you give it what it needs.
Yes. And number one, like I repeat again, you love yourself and you accept yourself, the body starts to heal.
Well, I think that's probably the best advice I've had all week, Coach Al. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join us this week. And I
My
have learned
pleasure.
so much. We have a large audience in Guatemala and Nicaragua that are healthcare workers, and they listen to the podcast every week. A lot of them are Americans who have taken jobs internationally. So they take what they learn every week back to clinic in at least these
Wow.
two countries. Yeah, and we have a large pharmaceutical audience in the US that join us every week. A lot of physicians. So we thank you. And thanks everybody for joining Medical Bill 911. Christina Nelson will be back with me next week. Next week we have a special guest. She's been on Good Morning America, Holly Riddell from Los Angeles, and her company is called Love Is My Intention. So she'll help us wrap up June, which is Pride Month. And we'll see y'all next week. Coach Al, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye, y'all. We'll see you next week on Healthcare 911.
Thank you.